This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
Since 1983, Nissan has been building award-winning vehicles right here in America. And this summer, they're making it easier to drive one home. No new tariffs, just lower MSRPs on the Rogue and Pathfinder. So you can get the car you want at the price that feels right. But don't wait. These deals are only here for a limited time and while supplies last. See why Nissan is #1 for new vehicle quality among mainstream brands. Learn more at nissanusa.com. For JD Power 2025 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards.
Into the second hour, we start with our Marquee Matchup Marathon, courtesy of Steve's Appliances and stevesappliances.com. Not only does said store in Mounds View provide elite appliances with guaranteed low prices, but they aid 9 to noon each and every weekday with the marathon segments, and also provide Alec Lewis from The Athletic, theathletic.com. They are the sponsors of Alec Lewis's Inclusion each and every Friday, 9 to noon. Nordo on lead vocals for some marquee matchups that will be delivered in marathon-like fashion, and here they are.
So we do love Steve's, and we've been doing this bit a couple of different times where we'll compare certain players or things to appliances. So I go to Shop Deals. I don't know what an agitator top load. I mean, I know what a top load. Why is it an agitator?
Yeah, I'm not an elite washer and dryer.
So we should stick to sports. Yeah. All right, that's fair enough. Rams Eagles this weekend. Rams at the Eagles. Eagles 3.5-point favorites. You know, I don't know how much. I mean, we're so locked into the purple. I don't know how much time you've spent watching the Birds, but no passing touchdowns, a few rushing touchdowns. This Eagles team, and they look like they're in control and have handled business kind of thoroughly, but just nothing crisp about what they're doing, nothing easy other than Saquon, but overall nothing easy about what the Eagles are doing on offense. Just kind of a weird vibe with the champs.
Well, to your point, I haven't watched the film or watched them play a ton, but there's been a lot of noise around Philly from a passing game perspective. Like, they are not throwing the ball downfield at all. And I can't imagine that's because of their O-line. So it's an interesting game. And the Rams have been pretty good. The Rams, Matthew Stafford is still Matthew Stafford. And when he has time in the pocket, he can be lethal. And then, they have Devontae Adams.
Yeah.
Defensively, they've done some interesting stuff going back to, obviously, the playoff games. It should be a pretty good game. But it does seem like Philly is a little just disjointed offensively in a way you maybe wouldn't expect.
Well, he said it, something that you mentioned yesterday, where maybe it's happening with the Eagles, where they're Super Bowl champions.
Yep.
And in the season they won the Super Bowl, that team had won 8 consecutive games. You got Jalen and A.J. Brown basically going at each other in the media. Brandon Graham is on IR, and he's like, he didn't say this, but he's like, this is my final year. This is my last chance to do this. So he went on podcasts and talked to the media and basically told them both to shut up and stop acting like this. And it was a galvanizing moment. There's no Brandon Graham around anymore. And it's almost like the Philadelphia Eagles, their biggest nemesis is themselves and boredom. And, honestly, with Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown and Dallas Goedert and and Saquon and everything they have, they know we're capable of scoring 50 points every single game. But when we don't do it, let's go to biting at each other a little bit because it's happening right now.
Yeah, I'm glad you went that way. Just from our conversation on Tuesday, it was hyperbolic or hyper accurate, I think. And you had mentioned kind of the idea: will the Eagles lose a game, or will they go undefeated? And it's hyperbolic in the idea of predicting a perfect season. They are actually just that much better from a talent perspective. It feels like than everybody else in the NFL. But they will lose their minds. The infighting, I mean, if you're replacing Brandon Graham's voice in a locker room now with Jalen Carter spitting on people before games, just the mental side of it and them kind of eating themselves. And A.J. Brown, by the way, A.J. Brown can say whatever he freaking wants. 6 catches for 35 yards through 2 weeks.
It's not enough.
He's not happy. And so Saquon's feeling the vibe, right? And Saquon went, I think, for 200 against the Rams in that playoff game.
Look at the regular season game. I mean, both of them, he's like 220. He's gone for like 500 rushing yards in his last 2 against the Rams.
Which kind of makes this game fun, doesn't it? Because you think about adjustments, Alec, and you know McVay, and you think about coaching tree, and we picture similar mindsets maybe with a Kevin O'Connell. But like Kevin O'Connell, McVay, doesn't matter who it is, they have not slept after one team put 500 rushing yards on them like Saquon and the Eagles have done. And so you think about how this game's going to go. I'm feeling like this is where A.J. Brown gets a taste. This is where a Jalen Smith starts, or Devontae Smith, gets a taste, or it will have to be as McVay kind of moves the chess pieces around into the weekend.
Yeah, for me, can the Eagles pass rush get to Matt Stafford? If they can, then it's probably going to be hard for the Rams to move the football, and then the Eagles are just too good. But it is a little bit under the radar. Their offensive coordinator, Kellen Moore, left to go to New Orleans, and they replaced them with one of Sirianni's good friends. I think Kevin Patullo is his name. So you wonder if, I've always wondered with the Eagles and with Jalen Hurts, is the offense not complicated and not a lot of pre-snap motion, all that stuff, because they just don't need to be, or because they can't handle it offensively? Jalen Hurts can. I've always wondered that, but I expect it to be a pretty fun game. True.
Wow, what a question. As a Bama guy, how could you be down on? Are you saying Jalen Hurts isn't cerebral enough to handle a complicated offense with motion?
I'm not saying that definitively. I'm wondering. Look, Jalen Hurts was awesome at Alabama. He's a great. He's won Super Bowls now. It's not to take anything away from him, but you just constantly wonder, the level of offensive pre-snap process compared to anything that you see really from the high-level offense around the league doesn't even remotely compare. A.J. Brown cannot have 6 catches for 35 yards in 2 games. It just can't happen even if you have Saquon. So I don't know. I wonder about that operation, but like PA said, they're so talented that it just doesn't really even matter.
I still feel like Eagles at home, Eagles in September, Eagles find their way through this. This might be a game that the Rams are potentially better prepared to outfox in a late November, December affair. We saw what they did in the postseason, and despite those 285 rushing yards, Rams were within a score. Dumb question, complete aside. From an Alabama standpoint, remember because Jalen had to go to Oklahoma to get that opportunity. Everybody kind of behind Tua. Now we've seen NFL careers going. What was that like in Tuscaloosa trying to figure out whether it was Tua or Jalen?
Yeah, Jalen was so dynamic as a runner, and he's developed so much as a passer in the NFL. It's kind of, it just blows your mind to see what he can do with his arm these days. But I'll never forget the national championship. They benched Jalen and put in Tua, and it was an unbelievable throw to really win the game against Georgia.
Was that Devontae Smith on the receiving end?
I believe so. Really, neither of those guys from a superstardom level, neither of them reached probably the heights that you thought they could reach. Tua, you guys probably watched the game last night. Tua still, he doesn't look crisp with how he sees the field. Just never has.
Barkley last year, to be official, 460 and 4 against the LA Rams. All 4 on the ground. 460 in 2 games and 4. Now, the not to clomp on the other marathon marquee matchups, but
all good.
This is, maybe you could argue Lions-Ravens has more marquee appeal. Not for me, though. And the Rams, it's cliched, but they've had this one circled. ever since they went to Philadelphia. They're playing with the Eagles. Weather gets bad. Field gets slippery. Puka wants nothing to do with cold weather. They lost old Puka, the Islander, for about a quarter and a half, and then the field cleared. And here come the Rams storming at them late, trying to get them at the wire. I'm not gonna grandstand here and like get loud that the Rams are gonna kill the Eagles or anything. But if the Rams were to win this game, I wouldn't be surprised. That Saquon thing, though, man, like Nordo led this with, adjustments. I mean, what have they said during the course of the week, looking at film from last year, being like, He dehumanized you. I mean, it was unbelievable how he stomped on all of us last year for 455 and 4. So I just don't know how you stop that.
Well, and think about doing it in the regular season. He gets them. And then, playoffs, those adjustments, right? And he's coming off a game, the Rams, the week before, what did they do? They battered. I mean, we couldn't run against them. Vikings couldn't pass against them. The 9 sacks. You're feeling your oats. You're feeling good about yourself. Saquon said, I just don't care about the adjustments. He had 2 60-plus yard TDs. I think Jalen got loose for like a 45-yard touchdown in that game as well. Yeah, marquee matchups thanks to Steve's Appliances in a marathon segment.
That's going to be a heck of a game. Is that a nooner? 3? When is it?
It should be a 3:25.
Wouldn't be surprised. I'm with
the
PA.
Only thing I didn't write down.
I'll figure it out.
I'm with PA where I would not be surprised if the Rams won that game.
No, that's a noon game. That's right out of the gates.
Oh, geez.
So that's competing with Vikes Bengals. So we'll have to keep our eyes.
That's one way to put it.
Well, Tony Romo's here.
I mean, if they're battling for
it is a Nance Romo game, isn't it?
If they're battling for chairs at Planet Hollywood, getting up at 7 in the morning for the 10 a.m. games, we'll just stop right there and move on to the next marquee matchup, courtesy of Steve's Appliances and stevesappliances.com.
I don't know why I'm becoming so fascinated with the AFC West, but the combination of the Chiefs being 0-2, the Chargers being 2-0, and the Broncos, for this summer, I had this odd idea, and I'm still kind of on it. The Chiefs, the reign of AFC title games, it's over.
You think?
I think they're going to start to fade a bit in 2025. I mean, just the combination of injuries, the slow start that they are enduring right now, and
I would lean his way. Because that does have some hyperbolic to it, simply because it's Mahomes and Kelsey and Reed and AFC title game equity. You know, they're probably going to win this weekend. Okay, they'll beat the Giants. I think they're at the Giants.
They're at the Giants.
I mean, the Giants are a trickier beat right now than I think most people think. In that first game they lost, I can't remember to whom they lost.
Washington.
But, they kept that thing meat grinder close, slowed the thing down. The next game, they're up and down the field against the Cowboys. Neighbors is obviously no joke. Daboll might be coaching for his job. Wilson, who's going to go to the Hall of Fame, he's right at the end. People don't like him for weird reasons, but he still knows how to get the ball around the field a little bit.
Yeah.
So I think there's a little more pressure on the Chiefs this weekend than maybe some people think, but that's a tentacle to the marathon marquee.
It is a tentacle, and I'm glad you went that way because that plays into Broncos and Chargers this weekend. And Russell Wilson, he can play in prime time, can he not? And when he has that absolute game-changer
you guys are higher on Russell Wilson.
He's a guy that was ready to retire after week 1, and then he's going for 400 and change and cannot be stopped
against the
down
Matt
Dallas.
Eberflus Dallas Cowboys. I will say this about the Chiefs.
Eberflus.
You're saying maybe
back
the Cowboys' defense is terrible?
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe. Who do they play? The Ben Johnson's.
No, it's hideous.
No, look, I
don't care what that number is. It's over.
The
Bears and Cowboys this weekend. They will 100 points.
I'm going to take Steve Spagnuolo against Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
Billion times out of a billion. So I'll just say that. The other thing about the Chiefs, their run game has fallen off a cliff. Don't really know what's going on from a run game perspective. Until they get Rashee Rice and Xavier Worthy and have the full offense way just similar to Minnesota, where it's like until you have all the pieces that you plan for, it's really hard without a sample size to evaluate. So I get why people are skeptical of the Chiefs. I know we've got other games to talk
we're good.
about.
But Buffalo's push button, and we saw it last night. They have become so cohesive, so veteran laden in the right spots. They jacked around with that game last night. Like, hey, go ahead. If it's a horse race, go ahead and open up 5 at the top of the stretch under a triple hammer lock. We're going to come get you when we want to get you. I mean, you talk about jacking around and toying with the team last night. They knew they never were losing the game. So I'd be careful there. They got some push button to them.
Yeah. No. By the way, when you say other marquee matchups, we're not bringing up Colts Titans, so we can talk more about whether it's the Bills or it's the Chiefs, and we'll dig into Chargers Broncos too.
You know, I would go deep on the Colts offense with Shane Steichen. I mean,
Danny Dimes?
If you want me to go there, Tyler Warren and what he's done thus far, I can do it.
So I've become obsessed with the West, though, the AFC West, and the Chargers with their start. Now, it's kind of interesting because I thought, with Harbaugh taking over, that we would see so much more on the ground. And, I don't know where PA's head is. I think Herbert's come alive with Harbaugh. And again,
you know where my head is, man. I talked about it earlier in the week. Go ahead.
But that's where I just what they've been able to do in such short fashion with a defense that is flying around, a defense, by the way, that's not necessarily getting younger. Khalil Mack still in the mix post Bosa. Like, everything about their operation is so much sharper with Harbaugh than it was under Staley. And it's neutral field, weird stuff happens, but their ability to outmaster the Chiefs week one and then really just kind of dominated Geno and the Raiders in week two. I've just been overly impressed, and I think when I was trying to find that angle with the Chiefs, circling it back to that, like the title game run's done, well, somebody has to win that division that isn't Andy Reid. And I was on the Broncos and thinking, and we can dig into Knicks and stuff, it might be the Chargers that are placed themselves in the catbird seat here with what they've been able to do, the start they're on, and I think what'll be another victory this weekend.
When he says, where is your head with Herbert, Rich Gannon joined 9 to noon Wednesday out of the gate. First question I asked him was, and I respectfully disagree with the MVP who knows more about football than me, but I mean, I've watched a lot of Justin Herbert just like him. And also, people who have played Herbert have told me the same thing over the years, that he doesn't prefer to go outside the numbers with his passes. His arm is strong, but it's not cannon strong. So he was a little tentative early in his career throwing outside the numbers. So when the biggest third downs and the most pressure-filled moments in games are going to happen, he generally will go middle of the field. He became predictable. Yeah. So it'd be passes defense at the line of scrimmage with putting the right guys in the middle at the line of scrimmage, knocking it away or picks. Now, Herbert is before I formulated this take with MVP, I watched the game, or most of it, and then I went and did a little film study on Herbert from the Chiefs game. He has never played more cocksure. He has never been more swashbuckling than he is right now. And in the biggest moments of the game, he's taking chances he didn't used to take. They're calculated chances, and they're working. So I don't want to say he's arrived because he kind of was there before, but he's taken another step, man. I'm impressed with him.
Well, the question that I would ask is, has he ever had a receiving core this good? Ladd McConkey is exceptional. Keenan Allen right now, to me at least, looks like
awesome.
Looks like the Keenan Allen he's always looked like.
Let's keep those hammies going.
Yes, true. Didn't look like that last year against the Bears. Quinn Johnston, whose early portion of his career were pretty miserable. He's come alive.
He's first rounder from TCU, right?
Absolutely.
That's right,
He's acting like, I'm sick of people telling me I'm a bust, and I'm going to work as hard as I can in the offseason. I'm going to pay as close attention to these things as I have, and I'm going to go out there and destroy people because of the physical gifts God gave me, and he's doing it.
Well, I think Quentin Johnston is the reason they have Ladd McConkey. Because Quentin Johnston has been, bust, whatever.
Yeah, I like
just
that.
low rent returns over the course of his first couple of years. He's the guy when PA's talking about Herbert taking risks, looking for explosives in big spots outside the numbers. He had a 60-yard TD, I think, in the Raiders game. He's looking to Quentin Johnston now. Like, that's the guy I wonder what that trust relationship is. And we follow the Vikings as closely as we do. Right now, McCarthy's trying to find, he needs Addison back, right? Like, the trust that builds into those relationships. I wonder from a weapons standpoint, McConkey, great out of the gates. Keenan Allen, just the smooth vet that he is. But the trust that he's built, Herbert has built with Quentin Johnston, like, that's the page turner potentially all on its own.
No question. And the other aspect, you got to give the offensive coordinator Greg Roman credit. Greg Roman was known as
Ravens guy, yeah?
He was known as this, downhill, 12, 13 personnel, hammer the ball at you, and they are airing it out, which is a credit to him with the quarterback and the weapons they had. That is good adaptability. The other thing on the Chargers that I just want to say, their defensive coordinator, Jesse Minter, is, for my money, probably a top 3 DC in the league, and he will be a head coach next year. Comes from Michigan. Same tree as Mike McDonald, the head coach of the Seahawks, and what they're doing defensively, what they did to Patrick Mahomes in the first week, and what they did to Geno Smith last week, it has been wildly impressive, and it makes that team, to your point, very formidable in the AFC.
So it's week 3, and no need to overreact to anything, and that's how we'll talk in relation to our favorite team.
Oh, of course.
I think I'm done with Bo Nix again. I was down on him, then I was up on him. I'm thinking the Broncos are sky high, and it pains me to compliment Sean Payton. But they messed around with Cam Ward. They turned it over 4 times in the opener. Defense destroyed by Danny Dimes and the Colts. They rushed for nearly 200 yards on this vaunted defense, and you love Patrick Surtain II. You love Jahdae Barron, the first-round draft pick, and Nick Benito. And you think about that front. I mean, it's formidable on paper, and it'll find its way there, I'm sure. But just Bo Nix not progressing in terms of commanding might be the lack of weapons that we're just lauding with the Chargers that leads me down a road where Nix can't carry them to that next step quite yet.
The funniest thing with Bo Nix is he played 4 years at Auburn, and all of the friends that I grew up with who are Auburn fans, it was every week, every year. Is he good? Is he not good?
Really?
Sometimes he's good. Sometimes that's what it was for 4 years. Then he goes to Oregon, had the year that he did, was drafted where he was by Sean Payton, but the way you're talking about him, like, I'm in, I'm out. That's what it was for all of my high school buddies who rooted for Auburn for 4 years. So it's pretty interesting. I do, to your point, the weapons are a factor. They have Cortland Sutton, but like they went out and signed Evan Ingram as a tight end. He's been just a nothing burger for them.
Marvin Mims, though.
Their run game is Tyler Bidet, who played at Mizzou. Excuse me.
Do they still have Lil Jordan? Jordan Humphrey?
Possibly. It's not only Bo Nix, it is that defense, too. Like, a lot of people expected the Broncos to be good because they thought that Vance Joseph crew with Pat Surtain, with Nick Benito, with John Franklin Myers, they would just pick up where they left off. But defense just does not tend to be sticky year over year. So that is an interesting team and worth eyeing for a lot of reasons, one of them being that Sean Payton here is not the most beloved.
It's a marathon segment, and we're going to get into the NFC North matchups and things, and there's some fun ones this weekend for sure. My final marquee matchup, thanks to Steve's Appliances, I am kind of intrigued to see how the Niners continue to just exist as they've had to work their way through 2 grinders, man, both with Seattle, and then you got Mac Jones doing his thing last week against New Orleans. New Orleans may end up being the worst team in the NFL potentially, and it's just a quarterback problem and injuries, aging defenders, etc. But they've actually been game in their first 2 weeks, pushing Kyler in the cards a bit and pushing the Niners to an extent. So seeing like Mac Jones again, if Purdy's continuing to be unable to go, it sounds like he's out. But then basically the only play, of all things, McCaffrey's your healthy guy right now. I know they got Pearsall and Juwan Jennings, but in terms of marquee matchups, like I'm just kind of, how does Shanahan continue to navigate his own just injury-plagued situation, much like what we're dealing with up here?
And Arizona's been interesting. Us three have talked about Arizona a little bit. For my money, maybe the most underrated staff in the NFL. Nick Rallis, their DC, who I believe is from either Edina or Eden Prairie. They've done a great job. On the offensive side, Drew Petzing, they've been really good. They have a ton of players out this weekend defensively, ton of cornerbacks. So this could be a spot where, Mac Jones and Kyle Shanahan, they scheme it up once again. But, that team and that George Kittle injury, Brandon Ayuk is still not available. Like, I don't quite know who they're throwing to right now. It's like Juwan Jennings and Ricky Pearsall maybe and other guys like that. And Christian McCaffrey, I guess, is still doing his thing. But that 49ers team, it was interesting before the season. You had a lot of people like picking them in the NFC. I didn't know where a lot of that was coming from, even if I think Brock Purdy is pretty good. So definitely an interesting game this weekend. If Arizona pulls that one off, then there will be a lot of buzz around the league about what that team has done.
Well, that's an if not now, when type of scenario with Kyler and the Cards. And I agree, but looking at both teams, really, they need to figure out if they can actually win games at a high level. This good coaching staff that you're talking about, and I agree, can they win with Kyler? Mm-hmm. And similarly, if you're in the Bay, as Debo's gone and Trent Williams is at the very end. Like I'm trying to recognize any names across that offensive line, defensive names changing and such. Like it's as good a coach as Shanahan is. Have they kind of hit their ceiling without drafting and maintaining super high-end stock? Where Shanahan's so good, he'll win you games with Mac Jones. And he'll win you games with Garendo, and he'll throw Jordan Mason out there when he was with them. And he will plug and play, and he's so brilliant. You give me nothing, and I will produce something. But there's a cost of time. There's a cost of expectations along with that, and then potentially underwhelming results over the course of the long haul. Purdy, Mac Jones, whoever it is. I'm just curious. Both those teams are kind of at a weird crossroads with their quarterback, with their roster, and trying to compete with the Rams in the West.
Well, I mean, to the point you made about the 49ers, it's kind of one of the aspects of when you pay Brock Purdy that amount of money, you have to supplement your roster by nailing it in the draft. That's just how this thing works. That's why, like, the Vikings situation, it's been interesting because, I've heard noise of, like, they should have, could they have just paid Sam Darnold? Could they have just paid, Aaron Rodgers or whatever? When you do that, you're also removing Javon Hargrave, Jonathan Allen, Will Fries, Ryan Kelly, and all those guys have to be good for this path to make sense. But, like, it is not just one quarterback versus another. It's a quarterback and everything else that provides you versus the quarterback and everything else this provides you. So the path the Vikings went is why they have a lot of these players. Speaking to the 49ers, paying Brock Purdy means you have to hit in the draft. And they haven't done it at a level, and they haven't stayed healthy at a level that makes that path viable, really.
Alec Lewis from The Athletic, Nordo from 9 to noon, and I'm Paul Allen. Into the second half of the Friday football feast at Buffalo Wild Wings Maplewood when we return to FM 100.3 KFAN. Good morning. Welcome back to Buffalo Wild Wings Maplewood. It is the third Friday football feast. Great to be with you into the second half of the program. The Minnesota Vikings cheerleaders, ladies and gentlemen, nice enough to join us each and every week. Very gifted at what they do. And with Alec Lewis and Nordo, I'm Paul Allen. Sam Bird guides the engineering this weekend. And this Friday, that is. And Devin Ward is guiding the great ship Love Covenant at FM 100.3 KFAN. That's our street team over there. If anybody has any requests or you need anything, either from Buffalo Wild Wings or FM 100.3 KFAN or 9 to noon, stop by and say hello to them. They're there to serve you. Just like Paul Charchian was here to serve 9 to noon and the Friday football feast for a decade and a half. Now, Paul is relocated to Utah, so we crafted a segment that we began last week called IHOP, IHOP. And that's not calling Paul Charchian a pig in a blanket. What it means is IHOP, in honor of Paul. And this is something that we will do weekly, and I think it's the least we can do to.
When you say he relocated to Utah, it sounds like you're just like one of those
relocation programs.
No, it sounds like you're just making that up.
No,
well, it's like he actually did relocate.
Right? No, he's actually tough to talk about because it's private.
Okay, but so maybe we shouldn't.
No, but that pig in the blanket line that I laid out there. Well, there may be more to it.
Okay,
and he's in witness protection. South of Utah, south of Salt Lake, but east of St. George. That's all we can say.
There are morsels of truth in every bit.
Have you been east of St. George?
Yeah, I've been east of St. George, but not at the rest stops that he likes to frequent when he's driving throughout that part of the country. So, in honor of Paul, as in Paul Charchian,
what wears tap shoes on road trips?
What we do every single week is we each pick a fantasy football player. It can be any player we want, given the position designation for the week, and we score it. And we will amass points during the course of the year, and we'll see at the end of the year where all of the metaphorical chips fall.
You're winning, right?
So, yeah, by 2 points. In honor of Paul, IHOP, I have 12 points. We went quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers this week. We each get one guy, and you can't use the same guy twice. All right? So I have 12 points. Alec and Nordo each have 10. I took a fat goose egg last week with Kyron Williams, so I set scores every week, except for last week. So 12, 10, 10. And this is wide receivers.
Yes.
So we can have any wide receiver we want in the National Football League. We just can't use the individual twice. We don't share with each other who we're taking before the Friday football feast to add a little intrigue to it to see if anybody can get sniped, because it goes Nordo, Alec, then me, and Mr. Kahn. The Kahn, Eric Nordquist first. Who's your receiver and why?
Well, my elite fantasy mind is taking me to CeeDee Lamb.
Oh, you sucker.
At the Chicago Bears.
Well, look right here. I didn't think either one of you would take CeeDee Lamb first.
I had CD as my number one, too.
I might be chasing the 50 spot the Lions put on the Bears, but the Bears might also not have a healthy corner on the roster. Kyler Gordon still not practicing, got a hammy. Jalen Jones has a hammy. He's a backup. Jalen Johnson might be done for the year with a groin injury. They're probably trying to talk Peanut Tillman out of retirement right now.
He's an FBI agent.
He is, absolutely.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Damn.
And based on how we were talking about Charch, I think he just opened up a new investigation in southern Utah.
And how is Bill O'Connell?
CeeDee's got 24 targets in the first two games, 100-plus yards in both games, no touchdowns. So today's the day. The weekend's the weekend.
Yeah.
CeeDee Lamb is scoring on those Bears because the Bears are going to get rocked and they're going to fall to 0-3. CeeDee Lamb.
And the scoring system, if you indeed do care, is touchdowns only.
Touchdowns only.
So 6 points for rushing and receiving touchdowns, 4 for throwing touchdowns. And CeeDee Lamb is the bill of fare for Mr. Eric Nordquist. Well, what about young Alec?
I thought you were next. Like, do I get the second pick?
Get the second
Well,
pick.
the person who's in first goes last every time.
Okay, so oh, wow. So that's, okay, snake.
A little bit of a flex.
I'm going to take Jackson Smith and Jigba.
Ooh.
He is the Seahawks' number one receiver.
Yeah, he's great with the yardage.
He is exceptional. He hasn't gotten a ton of targets in the red zone, but I'm thinking against the New Orleans Saints, I feel pretty good about it.
Is Darnold going to dial up some explosives?
Darnold will dial up explosives, activate all 5 eligibles, and one of those eligibles will be.
And how is Clint Kubiak?
I think Clint Kubiak, is pretty good. His team is 1-1. The offense looks pretty dynamic with Kenneth Walker, but this is a receiver selection. Jackson Smith and Jigba
love it.
Is very good. So that's my pick, and we'll see how it plays out.
Well, look what's happened here.
Oh.
They seem to have left the leader of this little IHOP contest in honor of Paul, 2-point leader. So we haven't even started heading up the backstretch in this 2-turn race. I mean, we just popped out of the gate early stages. I got a 2-length lead. Who cares? Both of them are under triple hammer locks. But looky here. Seems they've left Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Justin Jefferson available. Okay, well, I'm going to take Justin Jefferson.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Well, you know what? He's played 2 times against the Bengals.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a touchdown. And in the first game, 2021, where it was the first game of Jamar Chase's career. And the fan has learned that when Jamar and Justin played together for the Louisiana State University Tigers, in 2019, they combined for 38 touchdowns. That's the most over the last 30 years of a wide receiver tandem at the FBS level. So now they meet. In that game, Jamar went for like 5-112 or 5-102-1.
He had a 50-yard touchdown that game, didn't he?
And Justin, I don't want to say the games were nondescript, but Justin didn't score in either one of those games. Well, Justin knows he didn't score in either one of those games. Carson Wentz, to a certain extent, knows where bones are buried, and he also knows that, I don't know if this guy's going to play. Alec is more in tune with the steam that involves injury reports than me. Cam Taylor-Britt.
Doesn't sound good.
Fourth year from Nebraska, second-round pick in 2022. He's given up a fair amount of touchdowns in his career if you look at some of the metrics, but a non-metric, absolute, we all can see it reality of this corner who wears 29 is he was called for 13 penalties last year. 11 were accepted, 4 were pass interference, 3 were defensive holding. He better hope he doesn't play because there's fury coming at him in the shape of number 18, and I have no problem putting Carson Wentz on a 5 or 7 step drop and throwing it up to Justin Jefferson against this Cam Taylor-Britt. So if he doesn't play, then I guess Dax Hill's going to be on the wrong side of a big game, or maybe DJ Turner the third.
He's hurt too.
DJ is?
He has a hamstring popped up yesterday, limited.
Oh, jeez.
So DJ Turner, their best 2 outside corners,
wow.
Taylor-Britt and DJ Turner, are both on the injury report with hamstring.
Well, and their second, what they think is their second best pass rusher, Shamar Stewart, the rookie, well, he's not going to play.
He hasn't practiced at all yet, has he?
Yeah, they're going to list him as doubtful, but that high ankle right there, my intel is he's not going to play, so that's going to impact their rush with these bad corners in the first place. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Justin Jefferson, but here's the twist, is I'm predicting... to predict he does this for a touchdown's a little grandiose.
What's the over-under for Gritty's on Sunday?
But I do believe he'll score. But what's interesting with Justin against Cincinnati, whether it's Zimmer or O'Connell, in each of his games against Cincinnati, he's thrown a pass. He was 1 for 1 in 2021 for 11 yards.
Wow.
0 of 1 in 2023. So these coordinators, you know it, man, because you talk with them and deal with them all the time. They get it. They may not say and get loud about this one's important to him because of this, and this. They don't generally go public with stuff like that. It's abundantly clear to me. If they're letting Justin throw passes against Jamar Chase every game, then that they want him to do something out of body with his former teammate on the other sideline. So if he were to throw a touchdown pass in this game, the first of his career, I would not be surprised.
And that would be worth 4.
That would be worth 4. So I'm gonna take Justin Jefferson against Jackson Smith and Jigba, perhaps the best slot receiver in the NFL.
Does a Thielen Gritty count if you're talking over/under on Gritty?
He'll Gritty if he scores.
Well, all Gritties are on the table.
Oh,
so
I love this.
I'd go 1.5.
Yeah,
I put the number at 1.5.
Because Jamar's going to Gritty.
Right. I'm going to put it higher than 1.5 because of Jamar. Keeping Jamar out of the end zone's tough.
Chase.
That's what I'm saying.
This might be a 2.5 type thing here.
Yeah, Jamar Chase Gritties after every single score.
Your friends at Prize Picks, I don't know what they can do.
Yeah.
But there should be a Gritty over under
Gritty prop. Brilliant.
That's brilliant. That's IHOP in honor of Paul and Paul Charchi. And if you're listening, hello. And those are our receivers, where we have CeeDee Lamb, Jackson Smith and Jigba, and Justin Jefferson. Vikes Bites with a twist around the corner on FM 100.3 KFAN. Hey, before we move on with Vikes Bites, we have a birthday here. Melvin, where are you? Melvin, wave your hand, man. Happy birthday, Melvin.
Hey.
First and foremost, it's 2025, and you were named Melvin not that long ago, which is terrific. Melvin, a highly underutilized name.
A throwback.
And I double-checked with him. They don't call him Mel or Melly Mel. He's Melvin. Round of applause for Melvin celebrating his birthday today. He's Melvin. And also, we have a couple of wedding anniversaries here. Congratulations to you guys at the front table.
Oh, number 16.
And my newest besties in the back, 4 years strong. Happy anniversary to you guys.
That's awesome.
Thank you for spending it at the Friday Football Feast. This is Vikes Bites. Nordo normally leads it during the course of the week, but I've decided I'm going to lead it on Fridays and put Nordo in an analytical spot in which I'm put Monday through Thursday. And Vikes Bites would be provided by
Thousand Hills Lifetime Grazed Grass-Fed Beef. You can shop online. Box of meat shows up at your doorstep, or local Coburns and Kowalski's locations, your co-ops as well. They're proud sponsors of Gophers Athletics. Clearwater, Minnesota's finest Thousand Hills. Matt and everybody up there does a great job.
Let's begin with Alec Lewis from The Athletic and theathletic.com. By the way, Alec has a podcast. It's called The Alec Lewis Show. You can learn more about it via his Twitter feed at Alec_Lewis, or via YouTube or anywhere you find podcasts, including the free iHeartRadio. Make that iHeart audio channel. It's called The Alec Lewis Show. And recently, he had Cincinnati beat guy on. I forgot to write the guy's name down.
Paul Daner, he's great.
Thank you. From something called The Growler, maybe?
He has his own podcast, The Growler, yeah.
Okay. So Cincinnati beat guy, Vikes Bites, the podcast you did recently. When you guys went to chatting about the game, what did he have to say?
Yeah, I mean, we talked a lot about Jake Browning and Carson Wentz, and these two, guys who have been in the league for a long time. Both have played, both interesting. Jake Browning, it's funny watching the film. Like, there are times where it feels like he thinks he's like a top 10 quarterback, top 10 arm. Like, he will just let it rip downfield into triple coverage, and you're like, what? Okay, and like sometimes it'll work, sometimes it won't. Carson Wentz, it's going to be so interesting to me to watch him play this weekend, because you go through this guy's career arc, and it is one of the most topsy-turvy, like, hard to understand. He's got years where it's 27 touchdowns, 7 picks. Then you've got organizations like the Colts are ready to like let go of him, run him out of town. So we talked a lot about these two quarterbacks and how I don't know, unpredictable that they make this Sunday game.
I'm still a little bit, the Colts in particular, they go to Matt Ryan the next year after what they got, and I'm just curious what those conversations were. Did they not like the guy to move on from him in the way that they did?
The Colts, when Carson Wentz played for the Colts in 2021, first of all, the Colts gave up a first-round pick for Carson Wentz as PA looked for something that he dropped.
It's radio, Alec. Nobody can see it.
I know. It always gets me. It's hard to focus. Carson Wentz, through the first 9 games of that season with the Colts in 2021, had a 17-3 touchdown to interception ratio. And then things kind of fell off a cliff toward the back half of that season. They were supposed to make the playoffs. They lost the last 2 games. The last game in Indianapolis, Carson Wentz had like a 3.4 QBR against the Jacksonville Jaguars, and so it was a brutal finish. When I watch Carson Wentz, I see a guy who has the arm strength, who has some athleticism, but the 2 things that worry me are inaccuracy and then just a little sketchy decision-making across the field. So if the Vikings can rein him in from that standpoint, I think they'll be able to move the ball.
Vikes Bites, Nordo, generally the leader of Vikes Bites. Here's the question for him. More receiving yards and why? Jamar Chase or Justin Jefferson?
As of right now, I think Jamar Chase is going to have more receiving yards on Sunday than Justin Jefferson. I think the connectivity that Browning has with him, the fact that they played together for a longer period of time, and even most recently the work they did against the Jaguars. And so from that standpoint, if it's just either or, and I like where you're at with where you're at with the idea of Jefferson being a focal point this weekend, the idea of him finding his way, as we were talking during IHOP, with Jefferson finding his way into the end zone. To Alec's points about Carson Wentz and what I've seen through 2 games, Carson can come in and maybe there's a little different dynamic, the veteran savvy. I like his deep ball a lot. There is a little bit of mobility and such. But just because you put a different QB in there, I don't think you are fixing necessarily some of the fundamental issues that have existed with the offense through 2 games. So do I like Jefferson being a focal point this weekend? I do. I just, at this stage, from just a practical cohesion standpoint, I think that Jamar Chase has a better chance to light up the stat sheet from a yards perspective than Jefferson, and them finding their way through things really for the first time in game action on Sunday.
Here's my thing with Justin Jefferson for this game, and you kind of hit it at it, PA. But there is obviously a competitiveness between these 2 guys. And Justin handles things as well as one of his stature could. But if we go through this game and Jamar Chase has 10 catches and the Bengals win, and Justin has 2 catches and the Vikings lose, he is going to be infuriated after the game. So while I do think Jamar Chase would be the choice if I'm picking between the two, it is incumbent upon Kevin O'Connell, Carson Wentz in this offense to get the ball to Justin Jefferson in space and to let him work. You just can't
That's
have
the marquee matchup, right?
Yeah.
We're not talking about Chiefs and Giants on Sunday night. The marquee matchup this weekend is Chase and Jefferson, and two teams feeding them desperately and feverishly throughout the game.
And you just can't have another week where it is as disjointed as it's been offensively, specifically for a guy like Justin who his expectation, his standard is to be in the Hall of Fame. And so everybody's going to has to come along. He pulls people to that standard. So I would pick Jamar Chase because of what I've seen from the Bengals and how often they can get him the ball quickly. Yeah. But I hope the Vikings teeter towards that, side of the spectrum and find Justin in a ton of different ways on Sunday.
Those are Vikes Bites provided by
Thousand Hills Lifetime Grazed Grass-Fed Beef.
What about the NFC North? There is some hot NFC North action that's going to take place this weekend involving Green Bay, Chicago, and the Motor City Kitties. We'll hammer on those games and see what those teams are up to these days. Green Bay starting to get a little banged up. Maybe it doesn't matter, but we'll find out. Then in the final segment, something I entitled last week, The Doctor's Doc. Not sure I like it, but I'm going to try it again. The doctor would be Alec Lewis from The Athletic, theathletic.com, because he went to operating on the All-22 and in surgical-like fashion dissects games in fantastic fashion. That doc is outstanding. We think you'll enjoy that about 30 minutes from now. You're listening to the Friday Football Feast at Buffalo Wild Wings Maplewood, and good morning.